Well, hello everybody. This is, I believe, episode number 121 on Gelvin Valley. Oh, it's been a long time since I've recorded any episodes, so much so that I wonder if I even remember how to do it. Just kind of cycling through my machines here. Uh, in looking at some of my notes, I don't think I have recorded one of these for, at least half a year, if some of you can believe it. Now, I know on YouTube, these have been cranked out 3 a week for quite a long time, and it goes to show just how many of these that I had stacked up. And I've tried to keep up with these episodes too as they get released, and I know what I was last doing in here was doing a little bit of rolling frequent driver. Yeah, whatever the app means. There, go away. So I'll maybe continue where I was, but boy, there's been a lot of things that have transpired just in life, and I'm sure anybody listening to this has had a lot of life pass them by in the intervening time too. I think according to my notes, see, today is this is in, I think we're in July of 2023, and the last time that I recorded an episode was in November. I think it was November 6th of 2022. So, yeah, you can do the math on how many months that was and how many crappy episodes I had stacked up, to send out as many as I have. And honestly, I've really missed playing on this map and getting to do this. There's just been so many other things to tend to with real life things. And last fall in particular, I had a massive computer failure, and I don't know how many people get the pleasure of going through a computer fail. Ooh, well, I can't even remember how to drive, evidently. Let me try to hook that back up. There we go. Try not to do that again. I think I meant to hit... No, not that. I think I have since installed a couple other mods, and oh, good grief, is that thing facing? I do believe it is. That may be what is confusing me amongst other things. I think what I want for GPS is Control W. Yeah? There we go. Can't talk and drive at the same time. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. This is the Gelvin Valley map created by Wild Wild Wes for Farming Sim 15. And kind of like I said at the get-go, this is my 121st episode, I think. I am trying to see if I can pursue my friend Reefy 1952. He had a map where he did, gosh, I think it was like 250 episodes or something, so I still have a long ways to go to catch him, and most of his episodes are way better than what I can produce anyhow. But this past year, and it wasn't on November, it was December 3rd, I believe. It almost stands out in my mind because I had just finished uploading some stuff to YouTube, and I had this major computer failure, and it was a really bad one. I lost everything. Most of the time when the computer fails, you can kind of start things back up, and maybe you can go into safe mode. You can look around a little bit and see kind of maybe if you're missing anything, and you can restart it, and it's pretty forgiving. You know, computers are pretty amazing for as complex as they are. You know, a lot of times it's pretty gentle on us, you know, when something goes wrong and we can get everything. Well, not so this time. I would say this is one of the worst computer failures I've ever had, you know, at this laptop here. It's Lenovo. Um, Nothing against Lenovo, but I don't think I'll ever get one of those again. And of course, in typical fashion, the company didn't stand behind it or anything. Didn't acknowledge that maybe their hard drive was bad. But be all that as it may, even if the company does stand behind it, you still can end up losing just so much. So, all right, let me raise that up. I literally haven't been in here for a long, long time, and I'm struck again by just how awesome this app is. Yeah, I know this is for ArmSim 15, but I'll tell you, I mean, through this whole ArmSim franchise, there have been some spectacular apps made, and this is certainly one of them. So I've definitely missed my time in here. So let me see here real quick, kind of where we're at. Just want to look on here because I can't remember. I think I had a circuit I was going around and I've rolled all these fields. Yeah, I think we're in field 1 right now, maybe. And it looks like everything's done except for 26, 25, 26. So maybe what I can do is go take care of those, and then I'll turn the roller back. It looks like I have 35 minutes before I need to turn them back to the rental agency. So this was my primary laptop at home, and when it died, I mean, it died so thoroughly, I wasn't even able to turn the thing on, you know, without significant help. Well, I could turn it on, but it had all this weird stuff, and it basically was a wiped computer, or so I thought. And that's a lot of times what happens, you know, when your computer dies. You hope you can get back. Boy, all these achievements I'm all of a sudden unlocking. And maybe what some of this is, because I mean, there's a terrible amount of pain, at least for me. You know, when you have your computer die, and you have to go through the pain of setting it back up. You know, that could be part of the reason I'm getting all these achievements. Everything, I mean, everything had to be reinstalled. And I don't know how you guys are, you know, with this game franchise, but I have every single version of Army Sim installed. Every single one, all the way back to ArmSim 08. And so all of those had to be reinstalled. Some of them, of course, off the CD. Some of them, you know, I could re-download through the Giants. Oh, I probably should be having my beacons on. There we go. Now we're official. And so all the codes I had to look up to reinstall all those, and you know, some of them, I think when these programs install, they touch the internet somehow, and the Giants are able to see how many versions you have, or maybe that's saying it wrong. They're able to perceive when you download it again and when you install it again on your machine. And a couple of those I had downloaded maybe one too many times, and they wouldn't even let me activate it on my computer. So I had to go to them and say, hey, here's what happened. And, you know, to their credit, they went ahead and loosened it up, but it's just additional hassle. And this was just games, you know, there was a few other programs I had to install too, including, you know, the recording software. Oh, here, I want to go in here. What am I zooming past this for? Slip over here. Actually, I was should go in another angle, but I can start in here to get this rolled. Spread that out. And here we go. Oh, that's not what I want to do. There's this must be a mod. I'm not digging rocks, but as you can see, I am making new field, and I'd really like to turn that off. Oh, field detection. I bet that's what it is. There we go. Somehow, yeah, I must have hit the key O and turned that on. Yeah, there's a mod in there where you can use a cultivator type um, mod, and you can treat it as a plow. And somehow I must have accidentally turned that on. So went through all that hoopla to get everything back reinstalled, and then in my occupation, I mean, see, this took up all of December, and of course everybody knows what's in December. Lots of family activities with Christmas and what have you going on, and as we headed into the new year, in my occupation, that starts to be some of the busiest time of year, and I just didn't have time to do it, but it was okay because I had so many of these silly episodes stacked up. Okay, can you, here we go. I'm trying to straighten this out a little bit if I can. There we go. You can use that field detection to kind of straighten out what you have going on in the field. So I really didn't get this thing back and fixed until, we were well into January, of the following year. So I still have my work computer, and I could, keep the videos coming or whatever. Oh my goodness, look at that. That kind of tore up the doorway. Be forewarned. So, if I had been smart, and evidently I'm not, I would have prepared better and had backups. And I know my good friend Atomic 67 at the time, he he gave me a friendly chewing out, although I think he knows the pain was real, and so he was real kind about it, and several other people did too. It's like, dude, you really need to back things up, because I lost virtually everything. And I took it to our IT people at my office, where I work, and had some of them look it over, and none of them could really get into my files. And just kind of by dint of circumstance, they put this one utility on there, and we managed, using a DOS prompt and some other thing, to find some of what I had. But I ended up losing, I don't know how much stuff. And fortunately, the Gelvin Valley map was relatively intact, and frankly, you know what, that'd be okay. I could easily go download Gelvin Valley again. And I had some backups, I think on my office server. I had some scattered things in Google Drive, where I had some mods that I'd been working on. But a lot of the other mods in my FS15 directory just disappeared. And I know I've talked before, there's this other map I've been working on, back when I learned ArmSim 15 and learned how to do a little bit of mapping. I think that was in the Glen Ellie map. Well, that sucker virtually disappeared. There was nothing. And it would show kind of the shell of the map, and show, when I say shell, it's like all the file directory structure, but there was no files in it. And fortunately, I think as of, let's see, was this December of 21? I think it was December of 21. So we're talking more than a couple of years ago. I had done a full backup of the map as of that time. And it's somewhere on the computer. I mean, kind of putting the backup on the same computer. Well, the backup was intact, but my working directory or working part of the mod was not. So, it was just so painful. And I know if anybody listening to this has ever gone through this, the pain of this, of trying to get back what you had, it is just crushing. It is such a big load, and when you've done so much work, fun work, granted, to get to kind of where you had it, it is no fun at all trying to go back and redo everything that you had done previously. Let me see if I can sneak along here and smooth this edge up just a wee bit more. I think it's kind of straight up there. Let's see, is there anything more I could do along this edge? Put that on. I think that's... I can't even see it. Alright, I'm going to put it down and I'm going to send it and see if it goes. There we go. Alright. So I spent, this would be back in February, kind of when I had little bits of time, and I was very busy with my occupation starting about February through April, May. Just a ton of time was spent there. But every bit of time I could have, instead of recording stuff, I was trying to get back the things that I had lost. And some of it was just flat out fruitless. I scanned that old hard drive, I don't know how many times, trying to locate, all the things I had on it, and it would get tantalizingly close. It would give me the file name, and everything there, but it would be 0 bytes, meaning, here's a very corrupted file, good luck with it. And so, oh, that's not good. I must turn that on again. I'm going to have to come in here and plant over that or something. So the reality of it is, the lesson learned is, lost a whole bunch of stuff, and fortunately was able to keep Gelvin Valley, and some of it, I just had to start over in some cases and redo or update from whatever backup I happen to have of some of the mods I've been working on. And some of those, when you... the modding I do, I think I've explained this before, is primarily Lua scripting and some of those kinds of things. I can do some other stuff, but most of it's that. So it's figuring out algorithms, it's figuring out where to touch the code of giants to try to get the game engine to do something. And I don't know, for me, it's hard. And so once you figure that out, it is so helpful, of course, to keep a copy, and I obviously didn't. So it was very painful trying to retrace steps to say, okay, I know I figured out how to do this one other time. What did I do and how do I get back what I had? So, needless to say, it wasn't a very fun time, and there was several times I just wanted to throw my hands up and just give up, and maybe I should have. I know I've acknowledged several times this is an old game now, and but it's just, I can't help it. It's interesting to me, so I guess whatever's interesting to a person, if you just refuse to give up, you can keep chomping away at it, if you will, and try to give it back what you had, but it's been quite painful. So a lot of it was just getting back Glen Ellie piece by piece and putting files in there, turning it on, see if it would load and run, and then looking at the log, seeing what errors were popping, what files it was missing. And anyway, long story short, I eventually got it back, and I think it's in a pretty good spot, because I hope to have a series of episodes on the Glen Ellie map at some point. I'd really like to do kind of a story series, kind of to emulate my friend Atomic 67, and at least take a whack at it. And speaking of Atomic 67, I know I've had a few videos about him, and kind of like I was mentioned earlier, I try to listen to my videos, even though it's kind of painful listening to myself talk. I recorded on here through the 120th episode of Gelvin Valley back in November of 22. And unfortunately, Atomic 67 passed away. Oh, was this tail end of January of 23? Early February, somewhere in there. I don't remember the exact day. And so it's been hard, to listen to some of these episodes when, I would be joking around with him and saying, well, this will be of interest to Atomic 67. And I didn't know at the time, what was to come. And that's been challenging to deal with. I know there's a lot of us at Atomic 67 meant a lot to. And, I mean, he's the reason I'm doing a little bit of this. It'll never be as good as his. I continue to have a link to his stuff in my videos, and definitely will. He just gave so much as a person, and I can't remember if I ever had an episode where I described a trip our family took to go see him and meet his wife. Just wonderful people, and I'm so glad we did, because, then what happened, and he's no longer with us. So that's some more life that happened, and I tell you what, the nothing stands still, and, just because I haven't recorded for several months, there's just a whole lot of things that have happened since then. And that is one of those things. And I just couldn't hardly believe I had so many episodes to act up. And, it's not that hard, really, to record a half-hour episode. And when you get done with one, crank out another one and another. All of very marginal quality, of course. All right. Hey, now, looks like we got her done. And look at that, I got 20 minutes left. I believe that's everything I need to do. Yep, all my green fields, they look like they've enrolled. All right. I think it is time to plant. And so that's probably the next thing. Well, actually, you know what? I got like 80 grand burning a hole in my pocket. That just doesn't happen very often. Now, is this a place where well, that must be this L trigger. I'm going to try to leave this bad boy in here, and we'll see if it takes it. So if I don't want to leave my tractor, so I'm going to put this out here, because I think the tractor is mine. Maybe I come over here. Aha. Oh, yes, washing costs. I suspect... Yep, that took care of my roller. And the rolling bit I did, I know it puts out the cultivation texture, but I saw it being done by a UK farmer, Harry's Farm. I think I mentioned that in a previous episode. I'd never seen that done, but I guess with a lot of no-till, that's a practice or something I saw him do on some of his videos following harvest, even in the straw. With good old GPS, he would be out there with a roller. I'm not sure what it does, but I know in the past in some of these I've ripped it up with a heavy, deep ripper, and this time here I opted just to use a roller. So actually, with this money in my pocket, let me see here. I gotta remember how to get into the bank. How do I get into the Bank of Haggenstadt? Actually, let me go. Alright, hit the delete key. There we go. 81,000. And I think I want to go to field management. Here's the map. You can see all the ones that I own. I remember I had another episode where I was thinking on this, because some of these fields, oh, I know what it was, 18 versus 16. 16 is horribly expensive, but you can see how similar in size it is to 18, and I was curious at the time to know if the pricing for these fields was dynamic, and I don't know that it is, but let me see here. All right, so 18 is 147,000, and 16, oh yeah, 473. So let me see, is there any I could afford? Yeah, there's a number of them. I wish I could sort these kind of by amount. And some of these, I've never tried to lease, and I'm not sure how that works. If there's just a certain amount of time that allows you to work the field, and then you got to renew the lease, maybe, for a lesser amount. Let me see here. I can afford number 5. Where is number 5? 5. Okay, that's over here. 46,000. 6. I can afford that. 7. These are smaller fields. I'd really like to have bigger blocks if I could, so it's less running around. And maybe it's time on some of these to try to sell them. Number 9. Number 9. Oh, that's this little one here, 36,000. Number 10. All right, just checking out the local real estate. 11, 31,000, 12, 74. Yeah, so here you look at 11 versus 12, and you say, is 12 really less than double the size of 11? I'm not sure it is. It could be that the map author just put in some deals. 12 looks like it might be a pretty good deal. 13's a little over 100. See, 13 doesn't look too much larger than 12, but it's maybe a little easier to get to, or easier to farm, maybe. 14, 122, 15, 186. See, that looks like a fairly good-sized field, but not that much bigger than 12. 16 is, oh yeah, just exorbitant priced. 17 we had, I think, when the map started, and I don't want to go back there. It's just a tiny, tiny field, and maybe something I should do is even dispense with 19, which is a pretty small field. I don't know how it is. Maybe me being an American playing this map is kind of putting different colored eyes on it or whatever. As if in America everything is just big and has to be big. Well, I don't quite mean it that way, because I realize there's lots of small farms, even here around the world, but I'm just looking at limited playtime and wanting to know how I spend it in here. 1,847,000. See, I think that would be a bargain. 18 for 147. I think there's some that's even like 15. Wasn't that 186? Yeah. So 1,847 is number 20. That would be a dandy field to have. Number 20. Oh, that's this one up here. I think we started with number 20. I'm not interested in that, even if we can afford it. It's just tiny. Number 21 may not be bad, but I know driving by here a number of times, it's a divided field, so it'd be a little more challenging to farm. We're not afraid of challenges. 23.55. That's kind of over in the corner here. That ain't too bad. We could afford number 24. That's 81,000. We already have 25. Let's see, number 27. It's a little above our price, at least assuming if we pay cash. Number 29 is kind of up there too. You wish this could represent maybe premium soil. And maybe that's kind of what the map author intended, but in reading the manual, the map manual, I kind of think he had some of the cruddiest ground, or most difficult places to farm, if you will, were cheaper. But like I say, there's a few like 18 that may have been mispriced. So we could afford, let's see, number 30. Not quite that. It isn't super large. 33, 34. Yeah, we farm right next door in 38. 35. Yeah, we farm next door in 37. That's a pretty decent field, but just a little above what we have to spend. 40. I'm kind of curious. Some of these up here on top. 44. 150. I think that's a relatively flat field. But comparing the prices of these, I think they are less even than what 18 is over here. You see how large 18 is versus 44, 45. It doesn't make sense. Or 46. I mean, that's even more yet. And it's a good field, don't get me wrong. But this one here, I think, continues to stick it out as just flat out a bargain. 47 is 32. You know what? That's a pretty good, decent bargain, too. That's a decent size field. It's close to where we're already operating for others. Kind of in our core operating area, if you will. Then some of these others, yeah, these are some smaller fields over here, so they're a little bit more easy to afford. 54 is out of our range. 55, 56. And that's kind of the gambit. So here we sit looking at this, and I'm tempted to drop a couple things to get into field number 18. And let's go back up there real quick. You know, sometimes farmers brag. All farmers seem to brag over how many acres they farm. But some farms brag how many fields they have. Maybe one farmer has one huge field and it's very efficient, and some other farmers brag how many fields they're in. And it's just brutal. But let's look here again. 18 was 147,000. We have 80,000. So if I jettisoned little 19, that'd give me 16. 25 is 40. That's a good little field in there. What's 20? Oh, 26 isn't that much. That'd be another 24. Where's another dinky tiny little field? I suppose you could sell field number 8, but that is just sitting right on the home place. So I kind of hate to do that. But if I dumped 19 and 26, that'd give us another 24,000, and then maybe I could borrow a little bit more and we could afford 18. Sound like a plan? Alright, I think that's what I'm going to do. Bye-bye 19. So long, nice to know you. And number 26. Okay. Now, we were just over there. That means I wasted money going and rolling that property, but that's okay. Okay, so we have 103 in the bank, and what we'd like to have is number 18. So, oh boy, do I want a loan again. I remember the fiasco last time when I borrowed not enough money, and what I'm hoping this time is if I get a small loan, maybe I can pay it off quicker. I sure would hope so. You know, let me see. Do I actually have... Oops. Trying to figure out where it tells me what I have in storage. Aha. Okay. So I am totally running on empty. So what I'm going to need to do is take out a loan big enough. Once again, how much do I need for number 18? 147,000. So I need about 44 to get there, but I think I want a bigger one yet because I'm going to need to buy chemicals and seed and all those things to plant here. So why don't I get double that? This is just shooting in the dark. 80,000. Or should we live a little and roll it up to 100? Maybe I'll just content myself with 80. Let's take it out. And I'm going to go back to here. Now we're going to come in here and we're going to buy 18. Boom. Okay, for better or for worse, you're watching my haphazard real estate management here. For better or for worse, we now own field 18. And you know, 18 probably is grass. So I think what I need to do next is rent the ripper, and we're going to do that. I think I need a plow ripper. Here it is. This was a little ripper that I liked. We're going to go rent it for, shoot, I don't know how long it'll take. Is that a 3-hour job? Because I don't think we're able to plant anything in there. It's going to be just grass. And we'll get it 4 hours just to be safe. How convenient. How do you all make your decisions when you do farming in here? I think part of why I like this game, you know, it's going to be different based on who plays it and what their motivation is. I really enjoy the business aspect of it and the challenge of making a business work. You know, I see up there now I have 30 some of cash, and I know that I also am carrying an $80,000 debt. And I remember how painful that was last time, running on negative for so long. And if I don't do things right, that's probably going to happen again this time. So how do you make decisions? Do you just pick something that you know you're going to enjoy doing? Or do you, or why do you play this game? Ooh, oh dear, that was close to a collision. Do you just enjoy driving the tractors and that aspect of it? Or do you like also setting up a business? So I'm going to get this up to the field here. First, I got to find where the entrance is. And I, not having been there recently, aha. This looks like the entrance. And now that we're here, oh my word, I got a whole bunch of work to do. That's actually a nice looking hill, and we're gonna get some awesome harvest off of this. So I'm hoping this was a good purchase. And you can sort of see the grass on the edges. The way Wild West set this map up is he presumed most of this area is grassland versus arable farming, and he figured that all of the grass would be grazed already, I think thereby making additional challenge for the player. So we're going to have to do some work before we're able to farm this field. Well, and I'm sure I've gone over the half-hour mark. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And the friends that I've made on here, so thanks for taking a little bit of your time to stop by here. I'll let you go for now, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.